Hi everyone. Today I am here in case you missed our second day of our book club. We read the second half of chapter 1, which was titled Disaster. So I'm going to start here with what's called a subheading. So it's underneath a heading. It's called Natural Disasters. So I'm going to start with that today. It's actually really short. The second half is only about 2 pages. And then I'll explain to you what our question is and a bonus activity that you can do today. So here we go. Tsunamis, earthquakes, and volcanoes can create natural disasters, terrible events caused by nature. Weather causes some natural disasters like hurricanes and tornadoes. But tsunamis, earthquakes, and volcanoes begin deep inside the earth. For many years, scientists knew little about the way the earth worked. They could not explain the exact reasons for earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanoes. Hold on, I'm going to close the door real quick. There we go. The TV was on. I didn't know if you could hear that in the background, so I didn't want to be distracting. So they were saying that some natural disasters weather causes, but other natural disasters are caused deep down inside the earth. They were puzzled about why these things happened in some places and not in others. And puzzled means you're confused or you're wondering why that happened. And a question that we asked in our Zoom book club meeting today was, what is something that you're puzzled about that has to do with natural disasters? The scientists did research for many years. Then, 40 years ago, a group of scientists came up with some ideas. These ideas came from clues they saw on the ocean floor. What they concluded may be hard to believe. They said that the ground we stand on is actually floating. And it's moving. These movements can cause major natural disasters. So later on in our book, we're going to be reading about what that means, that the ground we're standing on is floating. All around our earth, it's made up of what's called different plates. And they are large amounts of land. And these plates are slowly moving throughout time. We can't feel it, obviously. And sometimes the movement of those plates can cause different natural disasters. So here we have our fictional characters, Jack and Annie, and it says, turn the page to find out more about the word disaster. Here we have our last page in chapter 1. The heading is, It's in the Stars. The word disaster comes from Latin and Greek words for stars. The word for star in Latin is astrum. And I'll show you there, the word astrum. In Greek, it is astron, so slightly different. We get the English word astronomy from these words. Astronomy is the study of outer space and the objects in it. And if you remember, astronomy was in our Oliver Olson book, or at least the word astronomer, which was a person who studies space. And I'm pretty sure we had astronomy as well, just the study of space. And we did our telescope motion with that. If you remember that, awesome job. Today, we know the reasons for most natural disasters. But long ago, people thought the position of the stars could cause terrible things to happen. They constantly studied the stars, the moon, and the sun, looking for signs that bad luck was on the way. So way back when, I'm going to show you this last page again. Way back when, people used the stars, the moon, and the sun to help them with different things. And one of the things was to help predict or to know when some kind of disaster was happening. And if you want to do more research on that, you're more than welcome to look that up about back then, how did the sun, the moon, and the stars help people predict natural disasters. Another thing that people used, more specifically the sun, they used the sun to tell time. And that goes along with our bonus activity. But before I get to that, let's talk about, so our objective is, what are natural disasters? You don't have to answer that question, but that goes along with our activity that we're going to do, or you can do. So we're going to be creating a question tree of all the questions you have about natural disasters. Because it said that scientists were puzzled about why these things were happening. Scientists, they always are asking questions to help them understand why things are happening. And I always tell all you guys, great readers always ask themselves questions while they're reading, like we do our I wonder question. So what you're going to do is, and it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Miss Cannerin is not the best artist in the world. But this is all going to be the same. So here on the tree, you're going to write, what are natural disasters? So that's going to be the main question here. And then all along the branches, you're going to write I wonder questions, or questions that you're wondering about natural disasters or anything that we've read in chapter 1. If you already have some background knowledge, which you might, about natural disasters, that's fine, but things that you don't know about and maybe want to read. Now, remember, the natural disasters that we're going to be reading about in our book are tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, landslides and mudslides, and avalanches. So as I said before, there are other natural disasters like tornadoes and hurricanes, but unfortunately we're not going to be reading about those in our book. But that can definitely be something that you can add to your tree too, and some research that you can do on your own at home. So I wrote a couple model questions just so you can get more of an idea of what yours might look like. So up here I wrote, what was the worst volcano to happen? Like the volcano that was the most dangerous. And here I wrote, what makes volcanoes erupt? Maybe you're wondering about that. Over here I wrote, why are we floating? And then this is a little bit of a longer question, but I wrote, did looking at the stars, sun, and moon work when looking to see if a natural disaster was going to happen? So that was actually something I was really wondering about. Did the position or the star of the sun, the stars, and the moon, did that actually predict if a disaster was coming? Like, did a disaster come the next day or in a few hours? Did it actually work? So that was something I really was wondering about. So those are some questions you can ask. It can be about any kind of natural disaster, anything that we've talked about. So just questions that you're asking yourself. And a reminder, we're not going to be meeting for book club until next Wednesday because Friday and Monday are our Easter holiday. So let me put this back up here. So if you don't have to do this activity today, you have all week to do it. Again, you don't have to do it either, but I think it would be really interesting on Wednesday to share some questions that you might have and even see as we're reading if we answer some of those questions. So that's one of the activities. Now, our bonus activity goes along with something that I said earlier about how the sun helps tell time. It's called a sundial. And again, this was an instrument that people used way back when. that used the sun to help tell time because they didn't have watches, they didn't have clocks back then, believe it or not, and they needed something to tell them kind of what time it was during the day or night. So you can create your own sundial. If you just Google create your own sundial, it will give you all kinds of different ways that you can create your own. And I think that would be a fun, just like a craft for you to do instead of another writing activity. So these are both two awesome things that you can do throughout the week. And again, have your parents or your grandparents, you can send me a picture of it. Again, you can even take a video, like if you did the sundial, take a quick video of it. I hope you enjoyed reading chapter 1. So it was just a little overlook of the natural disasters. Chapter 2 will be all about earthquakes. So we're going to be starting that, like I said, next Wednesday. And we're going to be reading the first half of chapter 2. So I hope all of you guys enjoyed. And I will see you again soon. Bye!